Hello, hello. I am Dr. Victoria. I'm so excited that you are here with me for the Confident Parent Moment. I wanted to answer a question that came in from a parent about her two children. She has two kids, one who has been diagnosed with ADHD and exhibiting some really difficult, challenging behaviors, and then also a younger child who is really having a lot of struggle not mimicking their sibling, and then also just having a lot of behaviors that are challenging to the parent, like not wanting to do things and really following in the footsteps of the older child. So the parent says, what do I do? Because this is really getting out of hand. So I have three insights that are really important to remember about siblings in general. And then also specifically to this situation where you have a child who, is kind of watching their sibling, and their sibling, whether they are diagnosed with ADHD or they have other challenges, is really creating a situation where their sibling is watching them and then wants to mimic them or wants to get some of that same attention that their sibling is getting. So first and foremost, the first insight that I want to share is that the 5-year-old child, or really any child, doesn't always understand the difference between a bad behavior and a behavior that is typical for a child their age. And when you look at the experience of a child who has a sibling who's experiencing other challenges and is struggling, they see their sibling exhibiting all sorts of behaviors on the spectrum of typical to, atypical. And so when you have that, it's very difficult to assess for yourself what's okay and what isn't. So that's number one, okay? The second thing I want to share is that for any siblings, when you have a child who is watching their sibling get a lot of attention and get a lot of specialized attention, whether they get to stay home or sometimes they get attention from, mom and dad or parents at home at different times, and there's a lot of that attention, there might be some jealousy and resentment. And that's a very normal thing to feel when you notice that you're not getting the same attention as someone else. And we know that children thrive on getting their needs met because that's a normal developmental thing to try to do, is to get their needs met. And for children, getting their needs met means getting attention from the person or people that really matter most to them. And 99% of the time, it's their caregivers, because they know that if they get attention from you, that means that they are loved, and that means that they are liked, and that means that they are valuable. And for children, that equals safety. So when they're not getting that, even though the rational part of their brain understands that the other child needs it, because they are children, that rational part of the brain is not developed to the degree that they can really rationalize and hold their patience and be okay with not having their needs met. And thirdly, it's really important to remember that that child might be experiencing anger as well. Think about it. If you are noticing that your sibling gets to do whatever it is that they do without really having any consequences, or you're being told that, hey, your brother or sister can't do that. They can't do that. So you have to pick up the slack. 99% of the time, you're going to be angry at some point about that, right? Because you want to play your games or do what you want to do. You don't want to have to pick up the slack for somebody else. And so what you might see, which is a very, very typical response from a sibling that has a brother or a sister with different, struggles, is for them to be angry. And that's something that's very normative to feel. And so don't be concerned about that. But I want to share with you 3 tips that I've written down here that are really, really important to begin working on, that will really create a lot more ease in your life. Okay. First and foremost, my number 1 tip is you must nurture a relationship with both of your children differently, okay? Because your children are different people and because they bring up different things for you, it is super normal and typical to feel differently about each one. And you're going to have a different relationship with both of them. And not only is that okay, but I recommend that you nurture your individualized relationships with both of them separately. So make sure to spend some time with each child, doing things that they enjoy, doing things that you both enjoy doing together, without the other child present. That will actually give you the opportunity to give undivided, individualized attention to each kiddo, and both of them know that they're going to be getting that. Number 2, make sure that you are setting really, really clear boundaries and rules in the house. And especially if you do have a child who experiences attention deficit sort of challenges and executive functioning challenges, clear boundaries and clear rules of engagement are really important, because those will actually help your child think in a more organized manner, because they are having challenges with that. And in addition to having clear boundaries and rules for that purpose and helping them with their executive functioning skills, it also provides you and your children an opportunity to know what the actual natural consequences will be for their behaviors. And make sure as the parent that you're really coming across consistently every single time. So if on a Monday your child does X, you will respond in this manner every time. If on Tuesday they do the same thing, you will respond the same way on Tuesday. And your response is not going to be dependent on your mood or how you feel or anything like that, right? So when you have these clear rules and boundaries for everybody, your kids get to know that it is not just for them, it is for everybody in the house. And they get to feel safe because they know what your consistent response will be every time. This is a really big one because as parents, you're busy, you get tired, and sometimes your reactivity happens from a place of tiredness and moodiness, rather than from a place of consistency and clarity. And number 3, make sure that you spend time with that child that is feeling angry, resentful, jealous, okay, and is exhibiting those behaviors where they're not getting enough attention from you. Make sure that when you spend time with them, that you really, really validate their experience of anger, of resentment, and of jealousy. You don't have to create a dramatic, discovery with them that like, this is so, you don't have to make anything too dramatic. But what I do advise is that you validate their experience. And you can say something like, I know that it's not the easiest when, or I notice that sometimes it's hard when, and it's totally okay that you feel that way. And dad is not upset with you, right? Or, grandma's not upset with you, right? So really validating their experience. And what that does is it doesn't give them permission to act out. Okay, that's like a bit of a misnomer. Sometimes we think if we validate, that gives them permission to continue being boisterous or doing something that gets our attention in a negative way. No, it's not an enabling of that. It's really a validation that their feelings, you see them, you hear them, and you get it, right? Because when that happens, when they feel seen and gotten by you, you'll notice that their behaviors, right, and their challenging behaviors start to decrease because they no longer feel the need to really poke at you and poke at you and poke at you for you to see that they're feeling jealous, resentful, or angry. And that time together will really bring you closer, and it'll really help you deepen your connection because it brings a sense of trust and an understanding that my parent really sees me and they get me and they're here to help me navigate through this, and I'm not alone. I hope that this was not only clear, but also helped you gain a confidence in dealing with these situations at home. Once again, I'm Dr. Victoria. This is the Confident Parent Moment, and I'm so glad that you joined me. Let me know what you think, and if you liked this, please share it with someone that you think might benefit.